Well, hello, hello, hello. Today I have a wonderful guest, Miss Josie Campbell.
Hello.
And Josie is a client of mine. And today we are talking about her journey since she started earlier this year with me. And yeah, Josie, what would you like to say before we get started?
Um, well, yes, you said journey, and it's been a journey. It's been a roller coaster, but more
Yes,
ups and downs.
great. And I hope you have been enjoying it as much as I have. Uh,
Yes, yes, definitely enjoying it, but also challenged at every point because you can't do something like this properly in a half-hearted way.
Yes, yeah. And that's what we do, right? We challenge our coachees, our clients, our mentees, and we
Mm.
challenge ourselves to be able to grow. I was having a conversation with you before the call about, scaling my business and working on expanding so I can reach more people. And that involves sometimes things that you don't want to do, you don't want to let go of. And you kind of have to if you want to grow, right? So this happened also with you on this journey, I believe. So let's dive in.
Okay.
Josie, please, if you could introduce yourself to us, what do you do? What do you care about? What is your purpose and your mission through your work?
Hello, I'm Josie Campbell, and I would describe myself as many things, primarily a voice coach for women. But when I say that, that doesn't mean that I exclude other people in my work. I work with men as well as women. I work in the corporate sphere, primarily doing role play acting in businesses, training, coaching people on voice and presence and the impact they make just by entering a room. Um, but and I think we'll probably talk about this, is a lot of my work now is gravitating towards being centered on the woman's voice. Uh, I'm a woman, so that makes sense. But I come across in my life and my work so many women who feel they've lost their voices, lost their confidence, not just in the workplace, but in their everyday communications. And I really feel a burning sense of vocation to help those women with communication skills.
Yeah. And I've seen that firsthand. I've seen how your eyes twinkle and how you shine and, beam when you do this work, right? Um, Amazing work. And by the way, Josie is an actor as well. And
Yeah.
yes, and she has advanced studies in, I believe, theater coaching, is it?
Well, my first degree was a drama degree, and then I spent many, many years in different careers, mostly teaching, and then I kind of segued into acting. And now my acting career and my teaching career has kind of joined together. And about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I went back to school myself. I went to a drama school in London called the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama. And as a mature student, I think I was probably the oldest in the class to do an MA in actor training and coaching. I didn't have any plans to become an actor trainer. Many of my classmates wanted to move into drama school coaching, but that wasn't what I wanted to do. At the time, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that's what I didn't want to do. And that was a life-changing experience, going back into education, being on the other side of the fence for a bit. And it was tough, physically, emotionally, and mentally, but I think it's propelled me to where I am now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love absolutely everything about that. And I love
Mhm.
how you went back and you were the oldest in terms of age. Of course,
Yes.
age is not really um,
No,
everything that counts because, it shows how you actually embody what you teach, that
mhm.
didn't stop you. And that's what we stand for, me and you and women like us.
Mm.
It's about not allowing the criticism and the limiting beliefs and age or looks or anything stop us, right?
Yeah, you're so
From
right.
yeah, from creating impact, living and activating our purpose, what we're here for, right? So let's dive into the questions.
Okay.
Oh yes, and I was very lucky to work with Josie because she's an actor, and I absolutely love that, you know.
Yes.
So
That's
yeah,
how we met, because
that's
I did an online voice coaching session for a group, and you were there, and that's how we met.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely, and I absolutely loved it. Anyway, so my first question is,
Mm.
if you can just go back in time a little bit to where you were before you started coaching with me. What was happening at that
Um,
time?
I would say I was just very confused, because and you know me now. I've done so many different things in my life, and it sounds boastful to say this, but I have many different skills. They're all related. Look, there's lots of things I can't do, and I'm perfectly okay with the things I can't do, but I knew there were things I could do, and what I was doing was a bit of this and a bit of that, with working with different kinds of clients and different audiences, and wanting to have a finger in every pie, and nothing was sticking. And I kind of felt like I was grappling around, like, what is my purpose? Who should I be spending the time with? And look, I also needed to earn more money. I have to be frank about that. I have bills to pay. We all have bills to pay, but
Yes.
I'm not in that luxurious position where I can just sit back and not worry about it. So I had to be more focused about where my business was going. And at the time, I wouldn't have said it was a business. I wouldn't have called myself a business.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I remember. So this is something that many people go through, especially
Mm.
women. They don't want to call it a business, and they don't want to say, "Oh, I want to make money," or "I want to
Yeah.
make more money," or "I want to raise," or "I want to increase my fees."
Mm.
They feel a sense of
Comparison.
shame about it, and there's
Mm.
nothing shameful about charging your worth and having dreams about being more abundant and attracting more wealth and living that best and highest version of yourself. There's nothing to be ashamed about.
Mhm.
And you mentioned something else about wanting grappling with different things and having
Mm.
maybe sometimes I did, when I started out, I had this shiny object syndrome. The
Yes.
market was like saturated with new fads and new ideas and things like that. So I was doing everything and trying to be everything for everyone, right?
Mm.
Which is not possible. It's not sustainable. And yeah, there comes a time when we burn out or, we just lose focus. What are we
Yeah.
trying to do? What is our purpose? Um, and what made you decide to reach out and work with me?
Yeah. Now that's an interesting one, because it's not something I would normally do. I'm of the generation that doesn't feel the need to go into therapy. And I know this isn't therapy, this is coaching. But, I'm of that generation where I think I can do this myself. I can stand on my own 2 feet. I don't need advice. But I just found myself, and to echo what you've just said, saying yes to things and then thinking, why did I say yes to that? And regretting it and then trying to get out of it. So, and I think I described it to you as, I felt like I was swimming in the toddler pool and I wanted to be in the big pool. And I really felt that everything I did, and I was doing a lot of, nothing was valued. And I was beginning to wonder whether I valued it myself. So I suppose what I wanted, in a way, was somebody to say to me, yeah, you are good at what you do. Come on. So somebody to validate that, but to help me validate myself as well. So I was losing that confidence. And weirdly, maybe not so weirdly, maybe it was meant to be, but I remember I was following you on LinkedIn, and I saw a post that you'd written about a client you'd worked with. And I still can't remember exactly what it was you said, but you wrote something about that, and it really resonated with me. And I remember thinking, she's the woman for me. I'm done with talking to my friends, because your friends always have skin in the game. They're not going to be necessarily neutral, and they're not necessarily going to be honest with you, because
Or have the experience,
true, yeah, that too. So yeah, I suddenly thought, okay, I need to invest in myself. I've invested in myself, so many other things. Going to London for a year was expensive, but that was an investment. So I thought, but now I have to invest in where I'm going as a person in this business.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. I love that. And I love how you were drawn to this work.
Too, yeah.
That's the right way, when you get pulled, and intuitively, this is for me.
Yeah.
It's time. Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned something about validation, and that's a huge mistake. Women, female entrepreneurs, and even males sometimes, but mostly women make, who are in the workplace, they are employees, leaders even, they're in management, they could be at a very advanced stage of their careers, or entrepreneurs, light workers, trainers and coaches like yourself, service providers, who are always looking for where is the next, where is the next person who's going to give me validation? I'm not sure. Am I doing
Yeah.
this right? No, I'm not going to charge anymore. I don't have the right to. Who am I to do this, right?
Yes.
And then they start working for free and giving for free and shooting
Yeah.
themselves in the foot. And yeah, and they cannot serve and impact and activate their purpose and model this and inspire others to do it, because they're not doing it themselves. They
Yeah.
are in saving mode instead of being in coaching and impacting. So, and the last thing, and we worked on this, and I work on this with my clients. The last thing we need is external validation, and that's why I go inwards. And that's where the real work is, inside of us.
Mm.
Did you have any hesitations before joining, Josie?
Yeah, of course I did. I guess partly was, did I want to spend the money on you? Yeah, that's a fair question. I'm investing in myself, but I still have to, you still have to pay to invest in yourself, unless you just want to read a whole load of self-help books. But I knew I needed that one-to-one, very bespoke approach. So yes, the first thing I had to think was, okay, I'm good at spending money on clothes, but I need to think about, this is an investment that will last me for the rest of my life. So that was one of my hesitations. And I think the second hesitation probably would be, was it going to work? Because I've been on this earth a few years, and you kind of think you've seen it all, done it all. I've solved a lot of my own problems. Is anybody else going to solve anything for me? So you kind of think, yeah, is it going to help, or is it just going to be a few nice conversations?
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you kind of, not be on the fence anymore and going over the fence?
I think that recognition that nothing was going to change. I was kind of flailing around in this toddler pool, and just didn't see a pathway out. I was doing a lot of different things and burning up a lot of energy, and still coming back to point zero and not progressing. And that was making me cross with myself. And I think it was that choice. I either carry on being cross and angry with myself and frustrated and feeling like I'm just saying yes to people because I didn't know what else to say, or I could change it. And I felt I had to make that change.
Yeah. It's a beautiful moment, you know, when that happens. And I've witnessed that so much with myself, because I believe in coaching. I practice what I preach. So I always unlock and go towards the next level. And I've witnessed it on many of my clients. And I know that when they make that investment, it's a declaration to themselves that they are forgiving themselves and they accept to go to the next level. So it starts then. It's that decision. And the investment, whether you feel is too big because it's something new you're not doing, right? Or you don't, that is the beginning of the transformation. It's the key, you know. It's an energetic, you know, kind of graduation to another space, another frequency, right? That you say yes to.
Yeah. Yes. And it's not like buying a gym membership, you know, but you have well, maybe it is, because if you go to the gym, it's worth it, but you have to make that investment. You have to do the work.
Yeah. And from what I know so well from working on, you know, with this for almost 10 years now, the bigger the investment, the more likely that the person will succeed. Because when it's a big investment, people take it more seriously. We know this for sure. We know that when people go to free or cheap events or take cheap packages, many times, or courses, many times, you know, we don't even go through them. You know, I've done that in the past myself. You know, you buy a course and then you don't have time to get to it. And it's, you know, it just disappears.
Yeah, so many times. I've done that so many times. I dread to think how many things I've bought on the internet and then just not bothered going. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what blew you away when you started working with me? I think you had different aha moments, frustrations probably, which is a good thing. It's normal.
Yes. Two things stick out, but there were many things. But the first thing, and that really resonated with me, was your lighthouse metaphor. And I'm sure you'll explain it better than me. But the idea that when your light is shining and you are activated, that the boats and the ships will come to you. That it's an attraction. And you'll explain that better than me. I know you will. But I have that image in my head a lot about boats coming towards me because my light is shining. The second one moment, which really blew me away, and it was a painful one, was going right back in time to when I was a teenager, late teens, maybe early 20s, to a moment that's possibly defined my approach to my career for my entire life. And realizing that actually that was keeping me stuck in my repetitive behavior. But it didn't have to. You know, I think you said something about you. I kind of felt that you can't change the past. That's the way it is. That is the cause. Or I was blaming my indecision or the mistakes I've made on factors that are in the past and you can't change. But your approach was, well, you can change it. You can't change the events, but you can certainly change the way you perceive them, and you can change the way you respond to them. That was a phenomenal aha moment. It was huge. And actually it sat with me for days.
Yeah, yeah, that's really beautiful. And I'm really privileged to have been, you know, a part of this journey, witnessing um, and supporting you with that. Um, in fact, that's the work. That's the
Yeah.
work. It's really changing your relationship to yourself, um, the meaning you give to different events in your life, the meaning you give to what people tell you, everybody around you, because you are in charge, you know, you're
Mm.
really in charge of everything, of your career, of your relationships, of what happens to you, what you attract, what you manifest, etc. So a lot of the work I do is really exposing the illusions and the lies that they have told us, and we keep telling ourselves because we don't know better. And that's where the work is. So amazing. The time is flying, and so I'm gonna jump to the next question. If you could share with us, maybe, Josie, the tangible and intangible results you have achieved through
Mhm.
a couple of months that we have worked together.
Mhm. Tangibly, I'm making more money. It's as simple as that, because I
Mm.
am now attaching the right value to my skills. And that was a really big step I had to make, in terms of how I valued my own skills, and then realizing that people are prepared to invest in that. And so then it generates more confidence and more success. So realizing that I could shine, and that's had this massive intangible effect on my confidence in myself and my abilities and how I introduce myself to people, that I'm not apologetic, or I'm just this, I'm just that I am absolutely singing my song.
And it's a beautiful, amazing,
Yeah,
strong, powerful
it
song.
is. It's
And
amazing.
so many people want to hear it.
Mhm.
So yeah, amazing. So uh, more work is coming your way, I believe. You
It
are able
is.
to charge your worth, and know where to invest your effort and time, right? And emotions, and mental capacities, mental space, right?
Yeah, yes, because yes, I must say that it's given me enormous clarity as well. So that I've talked to you before about my spaghetti brain, and I actually feel like the strands of spaghetti are now coming out. The ones I don't need are going away, and yeah, enormous clarity about who I should be working with, and I can work with, rather than trying to be everything to everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, it's very important that we work with clients and people who are aligned with us, who are enjoyable to work with. Life is not supposed to be difficult. There are so many people out there who are waiting. And we need to create the energetic space for them, so that they can see us, see our light, and come towards us. And this applies not only to coaches or trainers like yourself, but to every woman, actually. This is something you can do through your job, through being employed, even when you are in the workplace. You can also be the lighthouse. You are the lighthouse. You just
Yeah.
have to connect to that. So this brings me to my last question. Um, Sadly, we have to stop soon, but I'm wondering, what does this really mean for you now, Josie, this work?
Whoa, that's a big question. Um, a completely different approach to how I view myself. And I feel, yeah, I suppose I feel in control. I know we're never really in control because life happens, but you know, before I started working with you, I just had no idea. And now I have an idea. Do you
You're
have
in
something?
ownership. Maybe you're not in
Yes,
control. Nobody's in
that's
control,
the word.
but you're owning. You're
Yeah.
in charge of your own life.
Hmm.
And what does that mean for the future?
The confidence that wherever I go, I can carry on shining. Um, you know, if I could say the word confidence a million times right now, that's what I would do, because that's what it's given me. And yeah, I may appear terribly confident. Well, that's you know, I've had decades of training as an actor and a voice coach, you know, so I can appear confident, but the inside is often a different story, as we know. And now I have that internal trust in myself and my abilities.
Yeah, that's it. The internal trust and certainty. I
Hmm.
know who I am now, and
Yeah.
I will continue shining. I am shining no matter what. No matter what the external stuff is, no matter what other people say, I stay anchored and centered in who I am. So it's really an identity shift. I was having a quick conversation with a female professional this morning, earlier, and she said, I gave her a compliment about her professional, competencies and, her experience. And she said, well, I think I'm average, but, you know, so women everywhere are doing this to themselves. After 10, 20, 30 years of solid, experience and hard work and all of that. And then at the end, they just keep playing themselves, putting themselves down, turning in on themselves, being unfair to themselves, belittling themselves, being invisible, hiding, being everything for everyone,
So,
saving, all those
yeah.
things. So unfair, to themselves. And then they start, of course, they go deep into toxicity and they start blaming everyone else, right? So this is what we do. This is the work. Identity shift. Who are you really without all of those lies and illusions? Yeah. So thank you so much again, Josie, for your time. And I have loved our journey, and I can't wait to see you shine more and more and more. Would you like to add anything else before we close?
Uh, just a big thank you to you. You know, it's, and I you know, I think I have to say it's been tough. There have been times where I have resisted this process, and I know you've sensed that.
It's
I
normal.
mean,
Normal.
yeah, it's normal, but you know, it is, that's human. But to start coming out the other side has been yeah, life-changing. So thank you.
Thank you, and hope to see you soon again. Bye,
I will.
everyone.